What's going on, everybody? Back with another comic book review. Tonight, I am joined, as always, by my boy Ren. We're going to get into a couple of different things that we are reading. Hopefully, you guys are jumping on and actually going out and possibly starting to jump on some of these books, man, and let us know what you think. So, the first one that we're going to actually talk about tonight, man, this is one of those ones, man, that both of us like a lot. Jesus, man, can you please release these books more than once every 4 months?
It's unnecessarily like lengthy for no reason. So he said we both like it. I thought it was great. I think it's great. I like it so far, but it's like he said, it's way too many like months in between by the time we get to the next issue. I don't know how you felt about the last one. Like I totally forgot there was like this war battle scene happening. And then it kicks off with the war.
So, I mean, the gist of the story is essentially this is a DC take on a medieval tale. You know what I'm saying, for lack of better terms. So for those of you guys that have not read it or picked it up, you know what I'm saying. This is just one of these things where it's like an alternate type story. You know what I'm saying, where you have these kingdoms of people that are basically set up. You know what I'm saying, but they use, like, for example, one of the kingdoms is Superman's family. So his family actually came to the planet Earth and they got everything squared away. And because they're superhuman, they became a king and a queen. And Batman's in there and his crew of people. He's like a knight, you know what I'm saying? Go figure, for the Jarrells, you know what I'm saying? Or for the L family. And I mean, when the story first came out, man, just because it was so different, like there's nothing that DC has really ever done like this before. But I think the thing that really kind of drew both of us in is like they weren't scared to. I mean, they were. Here's a character. Here's a main character. Done. Here's this. Here's that. Done. You know what I'm saying? So like they really jumped out on a ledge here, man, and it worked. Then it was, oh well, here's 3-4 issues and we're not going to drop one for 2 months, and here's three
I don't
four
get it.
issues and then, but again, like the story from beginning to end as a whole, if it just would have been something that would have been continuous, you knew that you had 12 issues, you knew that you wanted 12 issues. Now all of a sudden here we are on issue 10, and this series should have been over a long time ago. It's great, don't get me wrong, I like it, I'm looking forward to reading this one, but in the same breath and at the same token, seriously, 12 issues and we're like 9 months in? Nah, man, like you just can't do that, man, because like you said, what the hell happened in the last issue?
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think the delay is? Like, why is it so prolonged before the next one?
So I think with some of these, man, what winds up happening is that you have a creative team. I'll just say that because I don't know whether or not it is the artist, whether or not it's the writer, or if it's a combination of both, where they wind up getting other things that they're going to be responsible for in, whether it be this universe, whether it be an independent project or something along those lines. So like in this particular case, man, you know, Tom Taylor's writing this story. He's writing tons of stories for DC right now.
Right.
So I don't understand where, if you have a mini series, how it is that that mini series then kind of gets pushed to the side. If you only have to do 12 issues, I
And get
mean,
them done.
that's a good run, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you shouldn't, from a DC standpoint, you also shouldn't be pulling the dude off for him to be able to jump on something else. If it's too much for him, then, you know, hey, I mean, say that from the jump. I mean, I know everybody's trying to get paid, but at the same time, for people that literally go every single week to go pick up a book for 12 issues, again, we're talking about Berserker, we're talking about Nice House on the Lake, we're talking about those ones that we've talked about over the last couple of shows where they're great freaking books. What the hell happened?
Trades and omnis, I just wait. Like, if I'm gonna wait anyway, I might as well wait for the whole story in its entirety.
So that now will bring us to one that you and I
do like it.
read. Yes, it does get the homie approval, but at the same time, man,
Sure.
do better. Now, speaking of a cover, and or not a cover, but a book that you can actually count on, Detective Comics, man. I mean, it's up to what 1070 now, and it's just one of these books that just continues to get better and better and better and better each time that the book drops. And literally, man, like this is just one of those ones, man. Like when it's coming out, you know what to sort of expect. You don't forget what happened in the last issue because it's literally just a month apart from one another. So it's just
Mhm.
one of those ones, man, where it's like, and Ron V, man, we talked about him the last time that this issue dropped, man. Like he just does, in my opinion, he does a great job with the writing. He's on a different level right now, man. Like he has one coming out in a few weeks called The Vigil. And we've talked about it before. When you have somebody that you actually enjoy their process, their stories, their artwork, whatever the case may be, you tend to give it a shot. And I've already added it to my pull. It's on my pull list. I will
Right.
pick it up when I go into the shop and I'll give it a chance. You know what I'm saying? So, but this story, man, like I've appreciated the fact that he's not using the everyday Gotham villain. You know what I'm saying? Like he introduced this family that came in and basically stake claim to, Gotham. And with that, you get this supernatural effect and everything along those lines. The last time that we talked about this issue, we talked about, the character that is Gotham City. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think you actually had said, who the hell would ever want to go there? So it's
On
just
purpose.
right. It's just a continuation, man, of a solid story. They've introduced a couple of different characters throughout this as well. You know what I'm saying? But I thought that the last issue just kind of kept that same momentum, man, that they've had ever since he sort of took over the book and introduced this kind of arc, if you would, to the story itself.
My feeling with Detective is the exact opposite of the Dark Knights of Steel. Like, it's too many. Like, they just keep coming out with like book after book after book. Like, that series stacks up for me because, like E said, it's consistently dropping and I'm way behind on things. But that's the part that I like about it as well, is that I don't have to like remember what happened. I just got to get caught up on my reading. But it's it's the exact opposite thing. They need to slow down a little bit on that. There needs to be a happy medium on the release of these books, people. Like there's no reason why we got to wait half a year for one series and like the other one is like every other Sunday. Like, come on, let's take it easy.
Yeah, those bi-monthly, like you got to be careful when you're actually going in and setting up what your pull list is going to be. You got to be really, really careful with whether or not you're getting a bi-monthly release or whether or not you're getting a monthly release. You know what I'm saying? Monthly releases that they do stack up because you're getting 12 if you get the annual 13 books a year.
Mhm.
But if you're getting those, I mean, you're looking at 24, 25 comics for just one series. Now, what winds up happening though is in a case like you and I, we're screwed as Batman. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So
gonna
it's
get it
going to get the
regardless.
benefit of the doubt, right? So
Yeah, I'm
in
gonna
this
get it
particular
regardless.
case, you're getting a Batman story in Detective Comics that has nothing to do with the Batman story that's going on in the Batman ongoing. So you're kind of compelled to say, "Oh, I'm reading two different stories, but it's the same character." You know what I'm saying? And DC, I will tip my hat to you when it comes to the comic book thing. You guys do a phenomenal job of knowing who your daggone workhorse is, and you put out more Batman stuff than you do anything else, and it sells because it's Batman. It's the same thing with Superman. If you're a big Superman person, you can go out and get the ongoing for the Superman comic, but you can also go out and grab Action Comics and get that storyline going as well. So it's the same thing, if you would, just sort of delivered a little bit differently as far as Batman and Superman is concerned. So you don't see this with Flash, and you don't see this with Green Lantern, and you don't see this with like Wonder
Nobody
Woman and
buying
stuff like
those
that,
anyway.
right?
Nobody getting plastic Green Lantern, man. Like, sorry, all cool, but nah.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, the way that the direction this book is actually going, I can appreciate because they're I will give them credit when it comes to this though, man. This is a slow burn story. They're actually developing the characters, they're developing this thing, and it's working so far. So Detective Comics for me, man, is always going to be one that winds up getting pulled. I've stuck through and you stuck through some of the more
Yeah.
questionable storylines with it, but the current storyline, man, is definitely well worth going out and picking up.
Those are like the first books. Like I remember my grandmother buying for me every Saturday. Like she would take me to downtown Crossing every Saturday in Haymarket, and she'd walk around the city. And she knew I did not dig that. I was not trying to go into Filene's basement or Jordan Marsh. So she was like, "Yo, sit up here." And I in the store, and they were so nice to me. They let this little dude just sit in the corner with stacks of books, and it was always Batman and Detective. And then when she came back, she's like, "What do you want? What do you need?" And I'm like, "Can I get these?" And my grandmother never told me no. Like, I love my nana. So that's how my journey with Batman started. So I'll always get a Batman or Detective book, thanks to Maria Diaz, man. Always. So I don't care what y'all are doing. Bi-weekly, every weekly. Shout out to my grandmother. I'm getting them.
Yeah, and like I said, it also helps, man, when it's a good story. So,
Yeah.
speaking of a good story, speaking of one that both of us look forward to each and every time that it drops, we are up to number 5 on Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. Jason Aaron, dude. Jason Aaron. I mean, I don't know how many different ways that we can say it. We've talked about him before on the show.
On point.
Knows how to write, man. He just knows how to write, and he doesn't have to be behind the helm of a superhero book in order to be able to tell a good story. His run on Star Wars was actually a really good run, you know what I'm saying? And he just keeps it up, man. Like he's one of those guys, like we were talking about Rom V. You pick up his stuff, man, because you know what you can expect. And with this book, man, the turn that it took this last issue where old boy got caught up, and we're starting to find out a little bit more about the girl in the book, and we're slowly but surely starting to build up some of that backstory. And they did a decent job with giving you like just enough of her backstory and then pulling you back and saying, okay, this is what's going on currently. You know what I'm saying? So I love the dude in this thing though, man, because like he
drives me nuts, yo. Like he too goofy for this to be like the end of the world. Like no care in the world. Like he's going to the mall happy on a Saturday. Like there's nobody around. It's catastrophe, calamity, monsters, death, grime. The place he was in, his people's like in the room decomposing. He's happy. I want that kind of happiness. I ain't got those problems, but I want to be happy like that.
This Joker is literally strung up, dog. Like they have him strung up. You know what I'm saying?
Walking around a wasteland with a giant backpack, like Atlas. Where's he going?
And again, man, like this title does a good job of keeping it light with that specific character and then turning it around and getting very serious with the other. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean,
I don't see how she left boy though. That was kind of dirtbaggish.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, some of the training that she actually has received has always taught her to, ever since she went on the run, she can't really afford to stay in one place for too long because she knows that they're looking for her. You know what I'm saying? So, and to be fair to her, she told him way back in issue 1,
yeah, don't bother with it.
Stay here, don't come with me. You know what I'm saying? So, in that regard, I can kind of respect the fact that she knows who caught him. She knows what they're going to do to him. She knows that he's not strong enough to be able to actually withstand all of that. And if she stays behind, there's a strong possibility that the same thing happens to her. You know what I'm saying? So she kind of cut ties. I mean, she worked her way back towards him, you know what I'm saying, to see like what was going on. But her fight or flight mentality, you know what I'm saying, and the training that she has, and knowing that if she steps foot onto that camp, they're not going to go easy on her. You know what I'm saying? If it comes down to it. So I don't know, man. Like it's one of those, we had this conversation with The Last of Us. Like, what do you do if you're stuck in an apocalyptic world and your running mate gets caught?
I already told you what to do for me. I ain't trying to make those decisions.
You have stated that purpose. The only way that you are willing to stick around is if there is soap and Purell. We 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 got you. For
Yeah,
those
I'm
of
just
y'all
not
that don't
making
know
those
what you're talking
decisions, man.
about,
I'm not doing it.
for those of y'all that don't know what we're talking about, check out our reviews of the entire seasons of Last of Us that we have actually posted up on our spot on YouTube, man.
Yeah,
Find
for
out
sure.
how Renee really feels about no Purell. And I hope he has some. All the shit he's carrying on his daggone back, he better have some sort of soap or
The
Purell.
dude has his whole domicile in that backpack. What kind of bag is that? Where did he get it
I,
from?
I'm
Richest
trying to figure out
Sporting Goods?
how
Like,
do you
what
carry,
is that?
dude? How do you carry around a TV and a VCR?
And like, where are the rats? It's like powered by little animals. Where's the cage?
Dude is he's I don't know, man. He's gifted, man. That's all
And
I
how
can tell you.
fast is he moving?
He can't be moving but so fast. I mean, like you said,
That's why
Atlas.
I don't get what Shorty's doing. Like, I'd have backhanded him a long time ago, tripped him, tied him up to you slowing me down with all that stuff. And then you
You
got
told him to
caught. You got
stay.
nerve to get caught.
Right. By the people that are hunting me. You get caught. You know what I'm
And
saying?
they're moving
So
really fast. Like, even with like all that stuff on his back, they caught up to them really quickly.
so that answers the question, I guess, of how fast he's able to move, huh?
I guess, but like, how's the GPS system working like that in this day and time and age? I don't understand that.
See,
With their
there you
Boy
go with
Scout hats,
modern
like,
technology, dude. Like this
yeah,
dude's running around with a VHS and a daggone turn knob TV, and you talking about GPS.
but she's been trained, right? Like, so you got these survival like tactics, right? Why doesn't she set booty traps like they said in the Goonies? Like, why is she like not impeding their progress? She knows they're coming, right?
Yeah, but what path they're taking? I mean, they're literally out in the open. You know what I'm saying? So which route are they going about in order to be able to get to me? I guess is the question that would need to be answered. But
But they're
they
clearly
caught up
not
to
moving
him,
fast to worry about it. How about every few steps set a trap?
right? I mean, old boy brought enough stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be too hard to actually get everything set
I'm
up. But
saying, good,
nah,
good
man,
series. I like it.
it is a good series, man. I'm glad both of us jumped on this one in order to be able to, just kind of step outside of our comfort box. But
Yeah,
I mean, this dude here, man. I mean, again, I tip my hat to Jason Aaron when it comes to writing a story, dude. Like he's handling his business on this one, like
yeah,
much of
sure.
the other stories that he's actually done. So, speaking of great writing and fantastic artwork, I'm gonna kind of step back to the side. I'm gonna let you talk about this one because this is the issue before the finale. You know what I'm saying? So, finals number 6 is the final issue of Strange Academy with Scotty Young and Ramos on the book. I don't know if it's going to continue. To be
Right.
honest with you, I haven't heard anything about that as of yet. Um, but I know that this is we've talked about it a couple different times, man. This is your book. This is
Right.
your one.
So I'll say this, and I don't know if I can say enough about this collaboration. Like, these are two of my favorites. Ramos is an artist, Scotty is an artist, but Scotty is a writer. What I like most about Scotty is he doesn't like hit you over the head with stuff that you got to be like, what is he talking about? Like, it's in your face, it's direct, it's quick, it's short, it's easy to understand, it's fun. Um, and just the way he talks, it's like everyday speech. So even if you're talking about a school of people that are studying mystical arts and stuff like that, he keeps it really light so you can get it. So anyone can read this. A kid can read it, an adult can read it, and they won't be like, I don't know what he's talking about, and I can't pronounce all this stuff. But then the artwork matches how fluid the writing is. Like, if you're looking at these panels, like, you're in that school and you're in those moments and you're like, you want to cast spells and stuff, and it's fun. It's just a fun read, man. So in this particular series, you start to see like the tables turn, where I don't want to mess it up for people who haven't read it from the beginning, but certain people that were like decent, good, and following the rules at the beginning, trying to find their way, are now like the antagonists, and it's almost like the group is broken, and who you think might be the antagonist really isn't the antagonist, and who you thought wasn't going to be that person at the end turns out to be a real heifer. So It's just fun. I can't speak about it enough. Like everybody should probably read it. If you want something light, colorful, fun, vibrant, all of that jazz, this is the story for you. And Scotty, if you listen and if you ever pay attention, keep it going. Like continue with this whole like part of the Marvel universe. We dig it. I dig it. And it's again like Harry Potter meets the X-Men. Like, how much are you gonna be complaining about that? You get spells, you get superhero type of stuff, and you get Marvel action. Pick it up.
Yeah, and I think the one thing, man, that we've talked about the marriage of the collaborative team before. You know what I'm saying? When
Yeah,
certain
those my
people get
dudes.
together and stuff like that, and you put Ramos on a book and you put Scotty writing it again. That's just one of those things where they're at a point right now where Scotty writes that script and he just hands it over. He doesn't give them any. This is what I'm seeing on this panel. This is what I'm seeing on this panel. And I did read like the first 2 or 3 issues. You know what I'm saying? Back some time ago. The one thing that I really liked about the artwork was when the art needed to be simple, it was simple. And when it needed to be detailed, it was detailed. And it kept the simplicity, if you would, of the art itself. And like you said, I mean, Scotty's just doing what Scotty does.
Yeah.
He's developed that skill as far as that writing is concerned, man. And it's just, I mean, it's taken off, dude. Like he's just doing his thing. But I can't wait to get my hands on it. I mean, we've already talked about this.
Me either.
I am waiting on this one for I'll get the collected hardback.
I will say this. I have a complaint. Fellas, Young, Ramos, I need you not to have covers come out for the same issue. It's a dilemma that I have a problem with it because now I got to choose. I don't like those options. Again, if you watch The Last of Us, our reviews, you'll know I don't want to make tough decisions. I don't want to decide between a Scotty Young cover and Humberto Ramos cover. Can y'all cut the shit? Pick.
Well, to be fair, Scotty hasn't done a cover on this book since what, the second issue, if I'm not mistaken.
Doesn't matter. Like,
But
even if it's not
doing
this series, like I have these conflicting moments with like,
yeah, he's doing a variant, if you would, on the last one. You know what I'm saying? So I can tell you right now, from somebody who had hunted down that specific cover, a lot of places are sold out. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the last issue, if you would,
mhm.
allegedly, that they are going to be part of. So even if they don't necessarily return as a team, now you start looking at people like yourself that have been part of this from the very beginning, who are now going to question, is this next team coming in going to be able to understand reading a story and being able to continue it? That's kind of one thing, but being able to come in and have the same type of flow that the original series had, that's a potential issue. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't think anybody else can touch it. And I'm super biased. Again, two of my favorites, they're doing a hell of a job with it. I don't see how anyone's gonna come in top. So keep it up, fellas. Separate your
please.
cover distribution like one or the other, please. Help your boys out. And shameless plug, if you can't find it and you want it, or any comic for that matter, check out my man Scott on Imagine That Comics. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal dude. Just to give him his flowers. He personally looks after my stuff, like, because he knows your boy is a weirdo. So he personally looks at my stuff, and because he follows me, he noticed that I posted something about an issue that I had left it on the desk for like forever, and it wasn't his fault. I promise you, it was probably the freaking postal service, but he noticed it enough and he cares enough to hit me up immediately. He's like, Renee, like, is that us? And I'm like, it is, but I don't know if it left I don't think it left the place like that. I think it was the mail that did it, but because I didn't notice it when they first came out, it sat for a while. You do such, great stuff for me. I didn't want to say anything. And it was like non-negotiable. I don't care what you say. Like, I'm gonna get you a new one. And he went out and he placed the order and it's coming through. So I don't know too many places that'll do that for you, brick and mortar or online. So out of respect and a thank you to him, support that guy and his business. It's a small family business and he looks out for his people. And if you want that kind of service, then hit my man Scott up, Imagine That Comics, and DM me if you want particulars. I'll link you directly.
And the thing is, man, like you really have to understand that when you have, there are very, very few comic dealers out there, whether they're online or whether or not they're brick and mortar, like you said, that it's a major conglomerate of like a company. You know what I'm saying? 9 out of 10 times, man, when you walk into a shop, the people that own that shop, they're fans. Like they read
Mhm.
books, they play the games. You know what I'm saying? The shop that I go to, man, Atomic Comics, there in Hampton. You know, they every single Saturday. If you were to walk in there on a Saturday, man, you might not be able to find a parking spot because there's tables upon tables of people in there playing Magic, or they're playing, you know what I'm saying, Pokemon, or they're doing something that's not my cup of tea, you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
in order to be able to get like even younger kids and stuff like that, like they have beginner leagues, regardless of how old you are, or anything along those lines. You can go in there and everybody's basically on the same playing field. You know what I'm saying? And the care that a lot of these people take with their companies is because it's trying to keep food on the table. But you know, when
Mhm.
you have somebody like what you said, man, like I've had probably two instances, man, in the entire time where, you know, I got home and I open, you know, I take the book out and I go to go read it, and I realize that, you know, maybe there's a tear on the back end or something like that. So I'll shoot them a text and be like, you know, hey, look, man, I didn't notice it when I was in the store. You know, the issue has a tear on it. You know, can you possibly just throw one in my box and I'll pick it up the next time that I'm there? And you know, Scott and his sister, man, they're like, nah, man, you just bring it back to us and we'll just switch it out for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? There's been times where I picked up in a rush, jumping into the store and everything like that, and going to look and see what's going on. I pick up a second print of a book that I already have. I get home and I'm like, yo, I screwed up, man. You know what I'm saying? I got the
Mhm.
second print. You know, if you got anybody that's looking for it, just let them know. You know, I'll bring it back in. You know, you can have it. You know, no, man, bring it back in. Just, you know, we'll bring it in on Tuesday, bring it in on Wednesday next week, and we'll match it up with, you know, one of the books that you're getting for that week, and we'll call it square. So when you have companies that take care of you, that look out for you and everything like that, um, it's not a shameless plug. And I don't want anybody to ever think that it is. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
you're right.
Dude does work, and he's putting himself out there for you and making sure that your stuff is right. He deserves a plug, not a shameless plug. He deserves
Uh,
a plug. So
Absolutely right. My bad. My bad on that. And you know, I'm not one to just go out and give like free shout outs. I barely do it at all. But like that mattered to me. And the fact that I mattered to him, like I have no choice but to reciprocate and thank him publicly. And not only that, like direct people towards that company. Um, I'm a huge fan, supporter of it. And that's just like online. Like there's places here in Orlando that have taken care of me as well, but you know, because you know, time and gas and distance, I
right.
haven't had a chance to get out there. But we've got places here that and one place in particular, like the collective. It's about an hour away from me. And I was closer before, but they are also, like you said, they, you know, weekends, they have, you know, D&D nights and all that other jazz. And I ain't gonna front, like if I had the time, I'd be in the D&D sessions. Like no joke. I grew up on Dungeons and Dragons. Like we did that on Halborn Street in Delhi. Like we got together and we had missions and we rolled the dice, and I had to con my mom into letting me play Dungeons and Dragons because she thought it was magic and horns and devilish type stuff, man. Christians, take it easy.
Well, if
Um
you ever seen Stranger Things, you know how they felt about it in the 80s. They definitely
yeah,
thought that it was
my mom's
questionable.
like, no, that's the devil. You better go pray. You got altar boy practice. Mom, I don't want to be an altar
Unbelievable,
Gladys.
man. You can stop talking about Gladys like that. Um,
Love you,
so
mom.
kind of love you, yeah, for real. For real. That lady boy, she took care of us.
Yeah,
Um,
she does.
but the way that I look at it, man, like with stuff like that, dude, like if you have questionable business practices, what you're not going to receive is my business.
Oh, for sure.
You know what
Sure.
I'm saying? So, like I said, in my case, Atomic Comics there in Hampton. Again, it's funny because both of our dudes' name is Scott, man. If you are ever in the 757, man, and you need a spot to go to, he's got a spot in Hampton, he's got a spot in Newport News. Definitely poke your head in. He's got a great selection of games, he's got a great selection of back issues. Um, like I was in the shop, man, not too long ago, man, and he's just in there redoing his wall. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to present, you know what I'm saying, the new comics in a different fashion, in a different way. And he, built the structure and put it up and everything like that. So, I mean, that's the thing, man. Like they're there to make money, yes, but at the same time, too, because of the tight-knit community that, comic book collectors are, um, I mean, he's taking care of his shop, and like in your case, because he does follow you on social media, and because he did see what was going on, even though it might have been weeks since you actually received those books. You're a client of his. You are part of the reason why he is in business. He is going to take care of you, and if he didn't, then the business would probably wind up starting to, be affected by it. Not, and this is the crazy part about it, man. In both of our instances that we brought up, neither one of us was expecting them to give us in exchange. Neither one of them was expecting us to do anything like that. And it wasn't even a thought. It was just as simple as, we'll make it right. And that's what you want. That's what you want.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're
So,
like you said, I definitely wasn't looking for it, and like
mm-mm.
it was just one of those random things. Like, dang, I missed it, and I wasn't even gonna really complain about like, this drives me nuts or whatever. And he immediately, I probably within a day, it's like, Renee, is that us? And I'm like, it's not, don't worry about it, man. Like, you're good. He was like, nah. And I was like, seriously, we're good. Like, it's okay. It's probably something I just overlooked. Nah, he's amazing, man. So to me, I didn't feel like a client at that point. I felt like a friend.
Right.
Because that's
And
what you
that's
do
what you
to a
want.
friend. Yeah,
And that's what you want.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I've told you guys before, man, in different episodes that we've done, that I am not afraid to take a chance on a number one. And this is going to be an opportunity for me to kind of share with you guys uh, an issue that I'm kind of looking forward to, because I'm a fan of the actual author of the book. Mark Millar does a really good job on the books that I have read for him. Um, and the book that I'm actually picking up this week, man, is it's called The Ambassadors. And the essential storyline of this specific book is that you have, what if I told you that only 6 people on the entire planet could have superpowers? And you have to choose who those 6 people are. That
Well,
is the
obviously
essential.
me.
Nah, you can't give a dude that wants to be a villain a superpower, dude. That's like the ultimate setup.
I'm not a villain. I'm
So
an anti-hero. I'm not appreciating that expression on your face, though.
that's you gonna try.
Finish it.
That's
Your
that's that's what
dissertation. Go
that's
ahead.
that's what we're doing.
My
That's
bad.
what we're
I
doing.
interrupted because I didn't need the criticism. Go ahead.
I will grab a daggone phone in a heartbeat and show you how many times I have a Sith Lord showing up on my daggone.
Just the misunderstood, yo.
So, but no, man, looking at but again, this was one I did not tell them that I wanted them to pull this. This was one
Mhm.
that I had on my list for when I went in to remind me to take a look at it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And opened it up, took a look at the artwork inside of it, man. And I was just like, the artwork it's a little grimy, you know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be a book that I give a shot. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. If the first issue sucks, I won't pick up the second issue. You know what I'm saying? This will be my loss, if you would, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, for giving it a shot. But knowing the history of Millar and the stories that he's written in the past, and actually having a little bit of background as far as the type of writer that he is, again, willing to give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? So if it's any
Right.
good, I'll let you know. If I think it's something that you might be interested in, I'll definitely holler at you in regards to that. So, um, seeing as how we gave Scotty his flowers earlier today, I would be remiss if I did not include The one Scotty cover that's actually coming out this week, it's for Avengers
Mhm.
Beyond. Um, I'm not going to sit here and even begin to tell you guys that I have any intention on reading this book. This book will go directly into my collection. Um, and I think I'm up to, I don't know, man. It's close to like 120 covers, man. You know what I'm saying at this point in time. So
Yeah, Scotty, I dig you, yo, but I ain't doing that.
yeah, I got an issue. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I
I'll get
don't. So
prints, but I ain't buying comic book covers. I ain't
yeah,
for it.
I got those over there too. I just got to find a way to hang them up.
Yeah,
So
yo. No.
so on last week's episode, we had actually said that we were going to come circle back and actually talk about a specific comic that both of us are reading, that both of us actually really enjoyed, and we're going to talk about last week's issue of the Punisher. This is Punisher number 10. Again, another solid outing for this particular book. I cannot stress to you guys enough, man, that the book is just good. It's just good. I mean, you can try and put whatever lipstick on a pig you want to and try and jazz it up and this and that and so on and so forth. The book is good. So, circling back, last week I told you that there was some stuff that actually happened in this issue that not only directly related to the Punisher and his storyline, but also a little bit of a flashback, and then that they kind of dug a little bit deeper into his wife's storyline in the actual issue itself. I also promised you that there was going to be a little bit of violence in this one, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll kind of turn it over to you, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, what were your thoughts on this last issue, man?
Oh man, like from the big, like the first page, it's guts, limbs, chopped heads, a plane that gets hit by like dismemberment, like it's a mess. A boat that gets blown up, boy walking on water, like it's a calamity from beginning to end. The only time it's not a calamity are the little panels with him and his wife, and even those are questionable. It's nonstop. It's nonstop. Remember that nonstop Spider-Man that I was like, yeah, that's okay. This should be nonstop Punisher, beginning to end.
He just came up with a list of people and was just like,
It was his
yep.
Billy Madison list. I'm gonna get this chick, this cat. It was a bad day for like nefarious people across the planet. And it didn't matter if he was in Maui, Hawaii, Indonesia. He was finding you and you were getting destroyed.
I thought like the panel that they actually had where the plane was going down, and here's a head, here's a body, here's a set of legs, there goes another head,
Yeah,
there
guts
goes the dude
everywhere.
ripped in half. I was like, what in the world? But I thought that the way that they actually told it was dope because they were using like news clips, you know what I'm saying? Like people reporting on the violence and everything along those lines. And I believe that if you look close enough, you can see him walking on water. How in the world is this dude walking on water? And then you sit back and you think, oh yeah, I forgot. He took out a god. You know what I'm saying? So he's got something. And I think the interesting part about it is like after reading this one, I was really I'm concerned for him right now, man. Like enjoying the additional powers that he had. The dude was already a killing machine before you linked him up with, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, dude. Like this is,
I think he absolutely likes him. Like, why wouldn't you?
It's killing it, man. But then when you kind of go into the wife story of her sneaking out of the house and going to like follow him and seeing him at a bar beat the bricks off of a dude, had to have the whole bar pull him off of Cat, and then for her to kind of flash forward into the present day and for her to understand that his hunger and his thirst for violence is just never going to go away. You know what I'm saying? And as many times as he keeps telling her, this is the last one, this is the last one, this is the last one, she really is starting to understand that there is no such thing. because there will always be somebody out there doing questionable and nefarious things, like you said,
You gotta handle it.
and he's gonna go take care of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm loving this book, man, and it's crazy
Absolutely.
because it was not one that I was even thinking about initially getting, and
Mhm.
now again, like we've talked about before, like it's just as solid a book as there is that's out right now.
Yeah, my major gripe is that logo. I don't like the logo, but that's the only thing I can really say that I don't like about it. And maybe because I'm used to seeing the other one, and because now it has like different meanings and stuff, they had to change it. I get that, but this new one they could have did better with the logo. But other than that, I really don't have any issues with this book. I dig the fact that he's an anti-hero. Like normal people would say, "Oh, you can't go around killing people," but the people he's killing are like murderers and traffickers and drug dealers and all kind of like I get it. Get him out the way. That's why I was a huge Dexter fan. I thought Dexter was a hero. People called him a serial killer. I was like, yo, he a cape short away from being Bruce Wayne. I'm good with it. Good with it. Like there's some people, I mean, honestly, like there's just people that don't need to be walking around no more.
Yeah, and like I said, the way that the story developed in this particular issue, with them having a Punisher storyline, they have his wife's storyline, they have the
Mhm.
flashback and everything along those lines, and the way that they married all three of those together, it was just a solid issue, man. Like just a solid issue. But I thought that, like you said, you open up the daggone book and it's like he's on a daggone helicopter, whatever the case may be, and the next thing you know, it's like, this guy and then this guy and this guy, and you know what I'm saying, and then they did all the flashbacks and everything like that. And then, his wife is starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together as far as the encampment that they're actually stationed at. You remember a few years she's back, he tried to get her out of there. And she had gotten to
Mhm.
a certain point of the woods and she started fading. And he turned around and took her right back. So
Yeah.
the only thing that he cares about in the world is his wife. And everything else is just in the way if it's in the way. So
I dug how she when she followed him and she didn't like make her presence known. She just kind of watched him to see how he was, and then she saw him in his element. And as a married person, and I love my wife, and you should love yours too. I think when wives like let you breathe and be you, they'll see who you are, not who you're presenting to be just for the sake of like, I'm not gonna be fussing today. And she saw boy in that element. She was like, oh, I kind of liked it because she was seeing his natural self, not okay, honey, let's go to Bed Bath and Beyond. I got stuff to get from Home Depot to plant these flowers. The man was bashing boy facing because he was talking recklessly. I get it. I ain't mad at him. And she let him be. And I think, that was cool. But I'm curious to see how this like goes from there though. Like now that she knows he's been kind of lying, which you can't do to your wives. So he's lying to her and he's kicking the crap out of people or watching stuff happen that excites him that doesn't involve like everyday, mundane activity, how they
Mhm.
recover. You can see how it kind of shifted after that. Like he on one side of the bed kind of grinning and she in tears, but she realizes that's who she's with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the dynamic that was leading up to this, like she was they had a rough relationship when he came back, you know what I'm saying? And they were going through and they were, doing counseling and all that other kind of stuff, which he wanted no part of. But he
He
was
was
willing to
doing it.
do right, he was willing to do it because of the relationship that he wants with her. You know what I'm saying? The relationship that he wanted to have with his kids. And it just, like you said, man, you can put on a mask all you want to, but at some point in time,
Right.
you got to take that mask off. And when he takes his mask off, he is. I mean, they call him the Punisher for a reason, dude. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Boy
but
is
it,
ill.
yeah, and like I said, I think that they've done a really good job of finding that inner animal that's inside of him, and really like to the point of, like I said, a plane going down and dismembered bodies coming out of it was a panel in this last issue. You know what I'm saying? So,
I want to know
um,
who took the footage of him walking on the water. Like who was present?
it doesn't matter because they're no longer with us. Because as soon as he found out who did it,
But how did they get it? Like how the news people get it?
dude. I mean, people sell stuff to the news all the time, man. Come on, we're not gonna go
There's
down that route.
nobody on the water. The boat is blowing up. Who's taking this? Nemo?
So, Ariel out there taking pictures and sending it back to Eric.
I don't get it.
Nah, I just like I said, man. This last book, man. I told you last week, like this one was
Yeah, it's
this was
dope.
good. It was a
Yeah, it
good,
was
good,
dope.
solid issue. So, all right,
All right.
everybody, that is going to do it for us for this evening. As always, we want to thank you guys for joining us. Like the channel, subscribe to our shows, leave us the comments, tell us what you're reading. Let us know what your shop is called. You know what I'm saying? And just get out there and find a good book, man, and settle down and read. Whether you're reading a novel, whether you're reading a comic book, whether you're reading a graphic novel, a manga, I don't care what you are. It just sit down and find something that interests you, man, because being able to escape the every day and being able to sit down and kind of go someplace else for a little while, you know what I'm saying? It's a healthy escape, you know what I'm saying? So on that note, my favorite part of the show and his least favorite part of the show, Rennie G, hit us, man. Give us all of the socials, dude.
Listen, aside from following us and subscribing to all of this stuff, like you already know what it is. You know who we are. We're the Homie Trinity podcast, your favorite neighborhood homies. Aside from all that, this was a rough week. And I want to say thank you to my brother for encouraging me to get on tonight because it was tough. We had some tragedies around the way. So as you're liking stuff and as you're subscribing to stuff, take every second that you can, reach out to your loved ones, tell them that you're a loved one. I care about you, you're supported, and I got you. So that being said, get off the internet today. Get off your social media. Turn it off. Turn all your devices off. Find the people you care about and give them the biggest hug you can. And that's it.
Yeah, man. We talk about it, man, on the show last week, man. Time is the only thing that's undefeated, dude. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make the most of it while you can. But again, man, I want to thank you guys for joining us. We will be back next week with another comic preview, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.